Involved, informed, interactive. Aaron, Natasha, and Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Welcome back. David Heurtel with you. Aaron and Natasha are off. And every weekday at this time during the break, I'm joined by Beryl Wajsman, the editor-in-chief of the Suburban. Good afternoon, sir. My
dear friend, that kind of intro could scare people.
Really?
Despite your texts yesterday that I should get into politics. David, you know, we've been going through the week as we always do at the end of the year, the main stories, what's going to follow us in. We've done healthcare, we've done language, of course, ad nauseum. We've done the recession. I want to tell you today, before we get into a subject that's really irritated me,
and a lot of people,
I have a certain calm that our federal government has its priorities straight.
Really? How so?
Yeah. I feel that Mr. Trudeau has addressed an anti-racism issue, and I am comforted by the bold resolve of Ottawa in putting in tampons and pads into men's washrooms so that the trans community feels safe.
Okay.
I think this is a great opening.
That said, moving on.
You're not taking me seriously, David.
I have
a sensitive side.
Beryl, I will take this, as all things you bring to me, very seriously. But since we are short on time, and I want to devote as much time as possible to this next subject, which I find very important, not to say that your previous comment wasn't, but I think it would be wise for me to move on.
I think so.
Okay, so
let's go to what really pisses me off.
Yeah, because last week, this was some people, talked about it, but I agree with you. It didn't get enough attention because of the whole, media circus of the end of the year, and everybody wanted to talk about everything. So tell me about what happened to Hampstead Mayor Jeremy Levi.
Okay. It's going to take, I need a little background.
Yeah.
We recently wrote an editorial called Shocking is Not Condemnation. We've been highly critical of Mayor Plante's lackadaisical attitude about the thugs in our streets. We're the only city in North America where the Jewish community has been targeted violently with guns, with Molotov cocktails, and all she's got to say is shocking and unacceptable. So as we wrote, that's not a condemnation. And the Palestinians in the streets, the mob, take their cue from what politicians say. In fact, the police take their cue from what politicians say. She did nothing when her anti-racism commissioner, Bahram and I, put anti-Israel and anti-Semitic posts on, when she marched with Palestinians who were screaming from the river to the sea. She is indebted to that. She needs to protect our vote. It's absurd. It's changing our city and making it into a mob scene. The least responsibility she's got is to tell these marchers, you can't stop locomotion, you can't threaten commerce, you're not going to trespass into shopping centers and abuse stores and abuse people, and you're going to stop screaming about Allah should kill anti-Zionists and from the river to the sea. She's done none of that. She wants them to demonstrate, let them demonstrate at Mount Royal, but not with overt calls to violence. So after all that, what happens at City Council? At City Council, a woman with a hijab and a keffiyeh stands up and wants to question the mayor of Hampstead's position on Israel. Alex Norris stands up. He's the majority leader of her party, with her sitting next to him, saying, look, this is not the place. This is City Council. And Mayor Levi goes to the Aglo Council. And we see in the video Mayor Plante pulling on his arm, saying, but in English, tell her she can go to the Aglo and ask all the questions she wants, and then repeats it. So what happens on the 21st of the Aglo meeting? You have to submit your questions ahead of time and your name. So she brought 5 of her friends, this woman, and they all put in subjects had nothing to do with what they were going to talk about. It was about snow and security and public transport. And then you're allowed 3 questions on the same issue. And then they start. One after the other lied about what they had written as their subject and started attacking Levi, and started throwing in all these things about dual loyalty of Jews and matters that, by the way, are considered anti-Semitic by the IRA definition of anti-Semitism that has been accepted by Quebec, but not by Plante, because she wanted her own Montreal-made definition of anti-Semitism. Now, after the third question that goes off course, or even on course, they're supposed to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Norris stands up and says, no, continue. And they went through 7 of these.
7
now,
questions.
Mayor Levi was not there. He was on vacation with his family. He had sent Jack Ettery to represent Hampstead, and it was a bloody ambush. And she didn't stop it. This is a violation. It's a legal violation of her fiduciary responsibility as a mayor. She singularly broke the rules of the Aglo Council. She demonstrated once again, let's put it this way, her benign neglect of the concerns of the Jewish community, which she is supposed to protect. And it's enough with her. There is cause now for complaints to the Human Rights Commission. There is even cause now for complaints to the Minister of Municipal Affairs.
Is there any type of reaction, from the Jewish community, from leaders of the Jewish community since this incident? Has there been any responses from the mayor? Has she been questioned? Has there been anything in terms of reactions
There's
since?
certainly been reactions from Mayor Levi, who'll be back in town in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And there is discussion ongoing as to the best way to finally end this. There was a great deal of reaction from the Jewish community calling for Bakra Manai to be fired.
I spoke with Ita Udin about this earlier this week,
Plante got rid of Dominic Olivier, and I didn't write about it because, frankly, she shouldn't have been. It was a minor affair 10 years ago. But Bakra Manai, who comes out openly in support of the most extremist groups that are changing our city, that haven't got the intellectual rigor to even protest civilly. And that's okay.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about this because one of the protests she allegedly attended was the infamous Adil Sharkawi protest where he spoke, and there was a lot of reaction then that what he said was hate speech and was potentially a crime.
It was.
And, have you heard any developments since in terms of... No, but there hasn't been any accusations, have there been?
Yes, there have.
Really?
Now,
he's been accused of hate speech?
Here's the backstory of what happened. And just as a one-sentence introduction, you remember, of course, you're a student of history as I am. I forgot who said it, actually, that war is too important to be left to the generals. We need civilian authority over military. We need civilian authority over security authorities in our cities. That's a good thing. But not when that civilian authority doesn't act. Police even take their cues from elected officials. So what happened? Sharkawi, addressing 2,000 people in the Quartier des Spectacles, said, Allah should kill all the Zionists and Allah should bring death on the anti-Islamists. This is a clear violation of Section 318 and 319 of the Criminal Code, which says no overt calls to violence and no identification against a specific group. Now, the police investigated. They put the file in the hands of a provincial crown prosecutor who was taking his time with it, or she, I don't really know who it was specifically, because Sharkawi was saying, well, no, I was invoking Allah. I was invoking the religious exemption to hate speech, which, of course, he wasn't. He wasn't quoting the Quran.
No.
He was calling for it, and that's why M. Blanchet, the head of the Bloc Québécois, has introduced a bill into the Commons to do away with this religious exemption. Then we hear that this file has been taken away from the provincial crown here by the RCMP. So everybody is trying to pander to the Arab vote, whether it's Plante, whether it's Trudeau. It's got to end. Palestinians, Arabs, Muslims, Jews, anybody have got to realize that in a liberal Western pluralistic society, their personal Religious views, philosophical views are personal. They've got to respect universal liberal values that so many have died and fought for. Universal expression, universal respect, freedom of assembly, and they don't want to.
Yeah.
They want, as I told an interviewer this week in Toronto, what we're seeing in Montreal is the attempted enforcement of Islamic radicalization. They want their agenda to be taken normally. And make no mistake about it, this isn't about the Jews. Just in the past few days, they have so much license. We're getting the news from all over the world. Palestinian groups on Christmas Day attacking the Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center, saying,
we saw it right here. We saw it right here in Laval.
We saw it right here.
Right here in Laval. No, Beryl, I get it. I got to stop you here, but what I get, though, there still hasn't been formal charges laid against Adil Sharkawi.
They're being examined.
Examined. So no charges yet. And Georges Clemenceau said war is too important to be left to generals.
Thank you. A great man who, by the way, was elected at the age of 82 in the last election of World War I.
Well, there's hope for Joe Biden then. All right.
Clemenceau was a bit sharper.
Okay.
But we gotta hope that Joe.
Okay, Beryl. When I say I gotta go, it doesn't mean you continue talking.
You gotta go, buddy.
Thank you, Beryl Wajsman of the Suburban.